Back here at home tonight, the FBI is investigating yet a new outbreak of threats against Jewish targets, including schools with young children. There were threats across several states today. Preschool children were evacuated after a bomb threat at this Jewish community center in Davie, Florida. And it comes after hundreds of gravestones were vandalized at a cemetery in Philadelphia.
We want to applaud your courage and your stamina. We know that you have been going through a difficult time. And your courage is a strength to all of us, and we want to applaud them for standing up to the ugliness that they have seen. There has been a rash of anti-Semitism, as you know, all across this nation, Canada also, and this state has not been spared. There have been bomb threats, desecration of Jewish cemeteries, swastikas, racist slogans that literally have appeared from one end of the state to the other. I don't think there's anything worse than racist activity, bigoted activity, and targeting of facilities that serve our children.
Investigators say they have found the person behind many, if not maybe all, of the threats these past few weeks against JCCs and other Jewish-affiliated groups. And he's in the last place that a lot of people would ever think to look for him, Israel.
It makes me scared because even though I've known things like this are happening and are happening in different parts of the world, and happening in Israel all the time, it scares me that somewhere I know and somewhere I go so often is getting hit with all these bomb threats, and that it's coming to somewhere near me. It's going to start affecting me. Like, if we do get hit, there's no telling what could happen.
Give you the liberties of what we've had now. I mean, if you look at the Holocaust, unfortunately, it was a horrible situation, right? But all of the good that's come out of it, and we're still strong, and not only that, but it makes our community even stronger. And even now, if you want to equate it to all the bomb threats that are going on with the JCC and all the different, threats that are going on with the Jews right now, it makes us such a strong kahila, such a strong community, because we can stand up together since we all have the same history. We're all going to the same place, and it allows us to really stand strong and together.
I've heard about the bomb threats at the JCCs and other Jewish communities and stuff like that. Personally, I feel kind of disgusted by it, that people want to hurt us that badly, and it does bring about fear in our societies, and we definitely do come back stronger from it, and it just helps to show that they can keep coming at us, but we're not going anywhere. We've been here for too long, and it's not going to end soon,
Israel Rubin. I'm the director of the Maimonides Hebrew Day School here in Albany. It's a school where we both learn language, skills, and also the meaning and passion behind Judaism. Now, we don't only learn Judaism. Our curriculum is divided between Jewish and secular. The students generally learn Jewish studies between 8 and 12. They have lunch, and then between 12:30 and 3:30 is devoted to secular studies.
Okay, so where's that one?
The babies don't say it. We have to say it for them. No, you have to say excuse me. Excuse, that's what I always say to people.
So we are coming up now to the Passover holiday. So the Passover holiday basically is to eat matzah, and the freedom, the unleavened bread, which the Jews carried out with them when they were redeemed from Egypt. That's 3,000 years ago. And so we eat matzah, and we keep away from leavened bread, cookies, cake. But if we would only leave it to that, it wouldn't be something that the kids would live and breathe. We're going to burn the chametz, the bread, any extra, because before Passover you're not allowed to own. The bread is off limits, so there's a ceremony of burning the chametz.
Father, called Hachitzenim. Yes, Ruach HaTruma, Min HaOret, Yes, Yisreinu Hara, Mireyu Me'itanu.
The children have a strong sense that when they are learning about Judaism, it's about themselves. The Haggadah, the book that we read at the Seder, says not in every generation a person should see himself as if going out of Egypt.
Yeah, this is light. I'll just carry this like this.
This is what I'm doing.
And what's that about?
It says in Hebrew, when Israel left Egypt. Now that's a long stretch of time for a child to grasp that the fact that we were slaves so many millennium ago has an effect on them. So this is our main thing of the teachers and the staff and the curriculum of the school, is to imbue them with the passion, with a love for their subject. Abraham is saying, I don't have any children. So God says to him, you will have many children. You will have children as the stars of the sky. So that's what the kids made. That's the stars of the sky. So we don't just learn the technicalities of Judaism, the specifics, the details, but the spirit of it. And so before Passover, all our children are learn to sing the Haggadah, not just to say it, not just the words. There are other schools that would just focus on the reading of the Hebrew, which is also quite an accomplishment. It's, we're a dual language school. We learn in both English and in Hebrew. But the emphasis is more than the letter, but the spirit of the, more than the letter of the law, the spirit of the law.
Line 3, that's what it's going to be. Not the Yiddish yet, first the Hebrew.
We don't just learn the technical parts of Judaism, the objects in the synagogue as a remote thing which can happen sometimes when you visit on Rosh Hashanah, on Yom Kippur, on the high holidays, but rather something that is in the home on a steady daily basis.
My name is Leah Garak. I'm 12. I'm in 7th grade. We'd probably be modern Orthodox, like somewhere along that line. It's basically, for me, it's just being able to celebrate the holidays together.
And they're eating Passover marshmallows.
Passover
I'm getting ready.
Pick up marshmallows.
What's your favorite part about Passover?
Candy. Candy.
So in order to remember the 10 plagues, we make these candy plagues. And so every piece of candy and all these yummy treats represent each plague.
Maimonides is a religious school where we learn Judaic and English subjects. First half is Judaic and the second half is English. Hebrew is actually one of the subjects. They call it Ivrit. That's the Hebrew word for it. And you have that class. I have it twice a week. But every day I learn something new. And our teacher will ask, as one of the questions she'll ask, what has this taught you for your life? So just answering that question each time on the test, it really makes you think about it, what you've learned between Hashem can see everything, God can see everything, and that everything you do He can see, and that you shouldn't lie. And it's just you learn a whole bunch of things by reading it, and I never really noticed until I got to that question, because that really made me think about what we actually learned.
My name is Jacob Gorak. I live in Albany, New York, and my age is 9. I'm in 4th grade. I go to Maimonides Hebrew Day School. It's a very nice school I like to go to. A lot of my friends go there. It's where we learn Hebrew and English studies. I really enjoy it. My favorite part of the Torah is Gamzu Tova, which means everything will happen for the best.
Well, I remember the very first time the Holocaust wasn't discussed in the house. It was like too close and too painful to hear. I remember one time my father came home with a book, a printed book, that had pictures of how the Jews were massacred in Slonim, the Polish city where he lived. And that was my first exposure to the Holocaust. And you could simply see the Jewish bodies being put out on wood and burnt. And these were very possibly my grandparents. I never saw my grandparents. So, from my father's side. So you would expect people to come out from that very scarred and very negative towards their heritage. This is what Jews were treated like. On the other hand, my father had, beyond that, a great love for Judaism. It burnt in him like a fire. He was passionate about it. And some of that must have rubbed off on me and my siblings. I have 3 sisters in different places, and we're all still promoting and excited about this Judaism. So it's interesting, what made me be a rabbi was simply a love for the subject, a love for Judaism, and seeing a lot of meaning in it. They stress, in addition to simply the children should know about what happened, we don't try to evade that or avoid that, but to know that despite all that, we kept the faith. And Judaism is so strong that can even overcome such a terrible test.
The messages that I hope that they get is, number one, you have a lot of people who died fighting for something that you're so privileged to get, and so you should be humble about that and not necessarily take your religion and all of these extra special things that you have for granted, sort of. And then we also try to teach the message of tolerance, so that even though somebody's different for you, you should still treat them with the same respect as you would want to be treated, and not treat them differently just because they are different. So we definitely have that diverse mindset within the family and just in general outside of it.
Just the few survivors, there's been plenty more of us from those few who could survive. If you really think about it, it's really it's scary how you learn about how 6 million of us got killed. It's really sad and scary because you don't want to have that happen again. But then there's also that people were nice to us and they helped us, and you could have lost your lives for helping a Jew, but some people still were nice enough to help.
So when it comes to the Holocaust, we start the education very early, because every year we have Yom HaShoah, which is actually the holiday where we remember the Holocaust. And so there's a big memorial service for all of them that have passed away. That's the whole message, is that we never want to forget that this has happened to us, and just to know that it is very real and that it can. And so we need to do everything we can not to forget the horror that we went through, and to stand together as a community to be able to continue moving forward.
You can kill us, you can hurt us, you can try to kill us, you can hurt us, but you will never fully get rid of us, because Hashem has always done a miracle and Hashem has always saved us. And that's what we believe. Our tradition is that when somebody has passed away, you'll name your kid after them, and so basically your kids get named after the people that passed away that were very important to you.
And looking back and remembering, that is a very big common theme in Judaism, is that you're supposed to remember where you went so you know where you're going, for the present. And so all of our children are actually named after our grandparents that have passed away, or our great-grandparents who have passed away. And the idea of naming them after these people isn't necessarily just because they were great and they were important to us. We're hoping that they will have the attributes and the contributions to the Jewish community and to the world the same way that those people did.
Well, my name is Israel Eliezer. It's an unusual combination, and simply it was from my grandparents and my grandfather, who, when my father came after the war, I was born in 48, so he wanted to leave a name for his father, who perished in the Holocaust. And so I know I carry a name of someone who was there before. Israel is wherever I go, just by the name they can tell I'm Jewish. But it's very meaningful. My son, his name is Mendel, Menachem Mendel, and he's named for the Rebbe, the Lubavitcher Rebbe, and so, like you say, their very names are very meaningful. We have several children, and not all of them. I have a daughter in England, I have 2 children in Brooklyn, but several of our children live here and help us in promoting the tradition, both through the school and elsewhere through Chabad houses elsewhere, like the one on Fuller Road. The Jewish population in the capital region is assumed to be between 25 and 30,000. I would say in Albany there's about 15,000. And that doesn't include, there are quite a few Jewish students at the university, because they're transients, they don't live here constantly.
My name is Victoria Reiner, and I'm a student at U Albany. Well, my entire identity is Judaism. Judaism is like my entire world. Everything I personally do, or think, or believe, has been based on my Jewish heritage, what I've been taught, what I've learned. I went through Jewish day school all my life, Jewish camps. You know, it's all I've ever learned. You know, and how I want to raise my kids one day, and it's really everything I learned is what made me who I am. Like, I don't know, I would be a completely different person if I wasn't involved in Judaism or like with God or anything like that.
Okay, anybody else?
Right now we're having programs about Judaism, about the Holocaust, about how it affects us now. So we had one program about the Holocaust versus the Muslim ban, and we had like testimony, how people talk about this and stuff. So he's talking about the Holocaust based on through a Torah perspective, more of like a biblical sense. That's our rabbi, Rabbi Mendel. In Judaism, we do this thing where when someone dies, you light a candle on the day of their death every year to remember them, that this was the day that they died, and we still remember you. So we lit a bunch of candles, because we can't light 6 million, that's a little hard to do. We lit a bunch of candles as like remembering these specific people, and it's important that like a lot of people come by and they just want to read a name or two, and then they light a candle, usually for those people that they just read, and or just for people in general, and it's like lighting them for people that passed away, because it's kind of like their spirit goes on, and we still remember.
Menzel Halbach, Adolf Halbach, Arnos Halbach, Anton Halvati, Zdenka Halvika, Vladimir Hedlika, Anton Halvija, Jerzy Zelowitz, Ewan Ludovico, Carol Lula, Carol Lozek, Pieter Luzek.
There's a word in English for happiness, joy. Now the last 2 letters of joy in Yiddish, in Hebrew, means oi. Oi means awe, you know, something traumatic, something bad. Now, it's true that many people have some bad memories of their Jewish history. Jewish history has not been kind to the Jews. Until recently, when we have Israel itself, Jews lived in the diaspora in exile countries, and many of them were very, very harsh, both under the Christians and under the Muslims. There were good times, there were not good times, and we found that people who stress and know only the oi, the difficulty, will try to forget that. Because who wants to hold on to and remember something negative? So along with the oi comes the J of Jewish, J, oi, joy. And the joy is what we try to inculcate in the children, that they shouldn't just suffer through their Judaism, they shouldn't just feel it as an obligation, they have to get bar mitzvah, they must go to synagogue on Yom Kippur. We want them to feel have a very positive feeling, that the world is not an enemy. Even though there are some enemies, we're not denying that, but not everyone is an anti-Semite. And you cannot jump at any little indication and say this is anti-Semitism, we have to fight it. We have to fight anti-Semitism. There are anti-Semites and there are people who want to eradicate Israel, and very clearly say so, but generally our relationship to the world is a very positive one. That's what we teach the kids. Well, unfortunately, we found out that some of the threats were generated by, one was generated by a Jewish person himself from Israel. So you never know, you can never prejudge or have prejudice. Oh, look how terrible the world is. Generally, the Rebbe told us to have a good attitude to the world, not to isolate and see the world as against us, but to try to work with them. The children are our future, and I won't be around here in so many years, but our children will continue our ways in our community, so that's why they are the focus of our teaching.
I'm sorry, University of Albany. Rutgers University on the banks of the River 10. Woo yeah, Rutgers, woo woo woo. Rutgers, woo woo woo. Go Scarlet Knights!
This is going in the blooper reel.
What?
This is going in the blooper reel.
I don't like Suni, I like Rutgers. Go Scarlet Knights!